Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bowhunt or Die. I've got Ben Franson next to me today. Ben, 2 or 3 weeks away from graduating college for good.
I am, yeah. Going to be here full time, so I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah.
Ben, I'm just thinking back real quick on that. I mean, like, doesn't your college years go fast? Like, isn't that just the freakiest thing?
Went a little bit too fast. Now I'm struggling to catch back up and try to have a lot of fun while I have a little bit of time.
A lot of fun?
So.
Are you kidding me? Dude, before we started the episode, you're like, I went on a hunt last night and I already saw 3 bucks. I'm like, dude, what the? I didn't even go hunting yesterday. You're in college. You saw 3 bucks. You had a chance to get another buck. Dude, you're living your best Ben world right now.
I am, yeah. I'm having a great time. Great hunts.
Speaking about, loving life, Dan Richardson has been a team member, and I'm going to keep this quick because we want to get into the hunts, but Dan Richardson's been on our team for just so many years, and I just love Dan. Like, dude, he is an inspiration. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to save some of this jibber jabber for after when you see him shoot this big monster buck with his bow. So let's dive into this hunt and come back. I just got all kind of great things I want to share about Dan.
Hey, good morning. November 2nd. New location. I've never hunted this little. I've been on this ground before, but never this little piece right here. I found a little, like a bench that runs down through here, and on each side of it, it's got these drop-offs into the spoil banks. There's a old haul road that's closed down out here where it connects to, and there's scrapes all up and down that thing. I've got a mock scrape in front of me. I get pictures of bucks right here all the time. So yesterday I decided to put a hang on right here. So first trip in, my wind's good. November 2nd, it's 39 degrees this morning. Let's see what happens. Well, a little earlier, I had a deer blowing at me. My wind was kind of going that way, but I wasn't sure if it was blowing at me or my son. He's back this way, probably about 300 yards. A little bit after that, I had a doe sneaking in the brush, peeking up towards my stand. I don't know how she knew I was here. I couldn't get the camera on her because of all the brush, but Dalton texted me a little later, and he said he had a big one come in and he couldn't get a shot. And it either winded him or seed him, and it took off, and it was blowing. So the deer I heard blowing was actually a big buck that was onto him. And he said it was coming my way, but it never did show up. Man, they could sneak up on you. Been getting pictures of a non-typical. He's got one good side and just kind of a blade on the other. I get him right here at this mock scrape a lot on camera. I was reading my phone. My son just shot a big one, but he don't think it's a good hit. As soon as I put my phone in, I scooted. I looked, and this thing was right there. And he heard me. He looked up at me. I think I got him running off, but probably gonna get down and see if we can go help Dalton find his. Good morning, November 3rd. Back in the same tree I was yesterday morning. I was gonna saddle hunt a spot, but the wind is not right. It's perfect for this location, so I'm gonna give it another shot. I still feel like I'm in the open. It's a little bit too much. I bring a lineman's belt just in case I need to move it safely. So I don't know, we're gonna see how it goes. My son shot that buck yesterday. We did end up finding it. It was a nice 8-pointer, probably about 130 inches. Just a beautiful symmetrical buck. So congrats, Dalton. I'm proud of you. He's going to be the next generation of Richardson hunter. So Anyway, good morning. Let's hope today goes good for me. Hello people, so I'm finally able to get back out. It is November 6th, day after the election, glorious day today. Finally the rain and the wind are gone. I checked all my stand locations on my hunt stand, and my wind was really only good for this spot right here, so I'm up in a saddle right now. I haven't hunted here yet this year. We got a bunch of strip mine spoil banks back here, we call them. It's real hilly, and then it bleeds down to this flat area right here, and then it bleeds over into a big valley between some more spoil banks, and that turns into another property, probably about 100 yards that way. But there's some giant trees down right here, and from what I observed last season, I was hunting a little bit farther that way, a lot of your bucks was skirting the edge of them trees and going around them to go in that little valley over there. So that's where I'm set up. I'm gonna give it a whirl. Finally, the bucks are starting to move on cam. It's been really slow because it's been warm. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. The wind's gonna be good for another spot, and that's where I'll be at in the morning. So let's see how this evening goes. Well, daggone it, man. I just had a buck I'd definitely shoot. He was coming at me, and I thought he was going to go around that big tree that's laying on the ground like I thought. But then he turned and he went up that way towards the hills, and he was grunting. And then pretty soon I seen a doe come down over here. And just a few minutes later, he came down over that way too, and he was grunting again. Then he went back around me the other way, grunting his head off. But the bad part is, I pre-hung this saddle last week, and where he just went is where I was going to hang it from what I seen the deer doing last year, and I didn't do it. So, if I don't do any good tomorrow afternoon, I may come in here and move the saddle over that way. Daggone it. Man, just had another one came through going the opposite direction where the first one came out the first time. That right there was a stud. I think I'm definitely going to hunt right here in the morning. I'm just going to leave it where it's at. 2 nice bucks in here. This is my first sit in this woods this season. And wow, what a sit. Oh my God, that makes me sick to my stomach. I just had that stud came in. It was going to be a nice, beautiful 15-yard shot. And when I pulled back, somehow my arrow popped off the rest. I've never had that happen. Oh my God. This ain't my year, man. Good morning. It is Thursday, November 7th. I'm back in the same saddle setup. A little bit cooler this morning. We still have mosquitoes though. This sucks. It's about 54 degrees. Just a little bit windy. Gonna stick it out. I hope movement's good this morning. I hope I see one of them 2 bucks from yesterday and maybe get a shot. And if nothing happens, I'm probably gonna move the saddle over where it seems like the deer always go through that one spot. So when we get off of here, it's almost daylight. We'll see what happens. please, 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 please. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was a pretty nice 10. The encounter this morning with him was incredible. He was back and forth. Then he was right under me, like 7 yards, looking up at me. Oh my gosh. I just knew I was going to get busted. And then he kept going on my offside. Then he would come back. He didn't know what he wanted to do. And then finally, he veered out about 12 yards. I was able to get drawn on him. And I think my shot was good. I'm not sure if I heard him till go down. I'm going to review the footage. Oh, my heart is just freaking racing. All right, been probably an hour. I'm on the ground. I'm gonna go see what it looks like right there where I initially shot him. So, fingers crossed. I just found my arrow, blood everywhere. And I look up and I see his backside laying there. I haven't walked up to him yet. He probably went 70 yards. Man, let's go see him together. Let me get my arrow first. There's the exit. Hey, look at this. Very happy with this buck. Very symmetrical 10-pointer, possibly 11. Didn't go 70 yards. The shot was absolutely perfect. Kind of entered back here. He was cornering away and it came out right in the heart area. Blood everywhere. So just the way this hunt turned out, my God. I mean, man, just gonna kind of savor it for a while and can't wait till the next one. Bow hunter die.
Ben, listen, before the show here, we were just talking about you and the great hunts that you had. Well, it didn't really lead into such a great hunt last night, but, you know, and we're just talking about how fast the college years go. And how old are you right now?
21.
Oh my gosh, 21. I'm 52. You're like 25 year difference. I can't even believe it. But here's what's cool. Dan Richardson, and I texted him, and I don't think he texted me back yet. Let me just check real quick. Cancel. He didn't text back. I don't know how old Dan Richardson is, but I'm gonna get in so much trouble now. But I'm guessing he's in his 60s, right? I know he's got 10 years on me. And what I love from an inspiration perspective, dude, check this guy out. He starts off this hunt with saying, I haven't been in this spot. I want to hunt this spot. I moved a new fresh stand into this spot. That spot doesn't pan out for him. Dude, then the next thing you know, a couple days goes by, he's in a saddle. He's kicking butt in his saddle. I mean, if that's not inspiration, I don't know what to tell you. He's still using a bow. He's getting out there, and he's still shooting big bucks. Like, dude, that's like super important to me because a good friend of mine the other day, and this is back to the age thing, like this whole episode is starting to feel like about age-based, but a buddy of mine who is in his 70s, dude, he's a killer. I mean, this guy is a killer, man. I mean, he has shot brown bear. He has been on sheep hunts. This guy has shot I mean, it's just crazy how great of a hunter he is. He's 70, and he's killing. He says to me, Todd, you just don't let the old man in. And when I see Dan Richardson climb up in the saddle, shooting a buck from a saddle, moving his stance, it's freaking awesome, man. Bow hunting, it's the best, man. Keeps you young. Add to that, Ben. Come on, step
He's
it up
doing a
here.
lot better than I am. I mean, he's in a saddle. He's shooting deer. I am not doing either of the two. I'm still hunting hang-ons. They've been great, but
Dude,
yeah, props to him for being in the saddle.
Hang-ons are effective, but he did say something in this episode that I think is important. You got to learn to continue to go with your gut. Like he says at one point, I was going to hunt over there, and that's what they were doing last year, but I decided there's something lured them over to the other spot. I got to tell you, man, sometimes with deer hunting, you just got to roll with your gut. And if you saw deer doing things a year before, it's amazing how they generally just like to do some of the same things, even if it's just a different deer. There's just something about it's like fishing. Someone told me, like, man, once you catch a big bass in one spot, you can almost count on the fact as long as no one boogered it up, as long as nobody was fishing there before you, you can probably go to that same spot and bam, catch a big one each time you go fishing. There's just something about those certain spots. Dan, congratulations. An awesome buck, and you're killing it, brother. I love it. I love Dan Richardson.
Yeah, congrats, Dan. That was a great buck, great film.
If you haven't watched the hunt that Dan Richardson did when he rigged up his boat and snuck in with his boat and shot that buck, you're missing out. Go back and find that episode. We'll link it below because it is a killer hunt, and Dan is just nothing but inspiration. I love Dan.
True that.
Love it.
True that.
Love it, love it, love it. Listen, we got an Ask the Experts question. It's definitely a good one. So, Ben, I'm going to go ahead and let you read the Ask the Expert question, and let's go ahead and answer Mike Peterson's question.
Yeah, so like Todd said, this question's from Mike Peterson, and he asks, I love watching videos and listening to podcasts.
Ben, it says, I love watching all the Bowhunter die videos. Dude, why'd you skip that part? Go ahead, sorry.
I love watching the Bowhunter die videos and listening to podcasts about playing swirling winds, thermals, and all the things that contribute to mature buck movement. But when I look at the maps of my property, I have trouble figuring out how that all plays to my fields and woods. Do you have any advice on that, Todd?
That is a massive question.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on there, Mike. I mean, like, that is like going to the doctor with 16 medical problems. There's a lot going on there. So let's see if we can do a Reader's Digest version of answering that. But I think this is something that we can play into maybe a waterhole episode. So we're going to let you know, Mike, through email when we actually take this question and blow it up a little bit more in a waterhole episode, because this thing's got a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
So let me give you an example real quick, Mike, and this is really not, I'm not sure this is answering your question, but this is what I can tell you. You mentioned thermals and you mentioned killing deer. This is one piece of advice I can tell you, and I can tell everyone that's watching the show, is I have tried to play the game to hunt the bottoms because you just always see the sign down there. You generally feel like that's where all the big bucks are. Some of the best community scrapes I always find are low, but when you hunt low, it's tricky when it comes to the wind. I don't care who you are or what you do, unless you just got some perfect situation in a bottom where if you know the wind's out of the north and it's just going to suck your wind one direction on a regular basis, then great. You can go ahead and hunt those bottoms. So in my particular case with my property, a lot of my fields, some of my better fields, are in the bottoms. And I've strategically placed a lot of different food plots down there, but I've kind of screwed myself in some regard because those are hard to hunt. When the thermals are rising in the morning and it's cold and you're up high, you can count on your scent being taken up, and it's going to put you in the most effective way to be able to kill a deer when you're up high. In the evenings, if you're hunting up high and you're expecting those deer to come from the bottom up, your thermals get sucked down in the evenings. So if you're in a stand and you're hoping that those deer are going to be coming from the bottoms up to where you are, you kind of screwed yourself, because that last hour, which sometimes can be your best hunting, the thermals start to drop and your scent's starting to get sucked down low. So in terms of how that all plays into my field and in my woods, I think you just need to always be thinking about the thermals and what's going to happen with your thermals. And when it comes to specifically your fields and woods and finding good spots to hunt, listen, you could look at Hunt Stand all day long, but I promise you, if you just take your time and only look at Hunt Stand and don't take the time to actually get boots on the ground and go look at what that property looks like and figure out where those funnels and where those pinch points are, you're going to have a hard time just only looking at a physical map. So you got to get boots on the ground, you got to get into the woods, you got to find those pinch points, And you got to find those key areas where you think the deer are going to move into, and always keep the thermals in mind. I don't know that that answers your question specifically, Mike. It's a loaded question. And we're going to take this question, we're going to keep, and we're going to address this on a water hole after the season, because I think this is a cool thing just to talk about. We could probably do a whole series on this.
Yeah.
So, well, Ben, what is up next?
I think we're probably going to do some trophy photos at the end of the episode.
Dude, 100%. Our favorite, one of my favorite things to do. You know, it's amazing how we always do these, and somehow Justin and I find ourselves getting into heat every year at some point. I don't know why that is, Brandon. Like, we
people are protective of their trophy photo, their prize, their trophy.
All right, well, let's go ahead and read off the names, and let's pick one lucky winner for the trophy photo contest. Ben, I'll go first. Jacob Massey, Kansas.
Bradley Little, New York.
Holly Zook, Pennsylvania.
Darren Holst, Iowa.
Matt French, Maryland.
Joshua Swanson, Minnesota.
All right, guys, these are some great looking animals here. And this is going to be a competition this week. There are some. Did you pick these this week, Ben, or did Brando?
No, I picked them.
There are some great looking pictures here, but there can only be one winner this week. Go ahead, Ben. Choose the winner. You've never done this before.
Oh, man. There's a lot of pressure on me.
This is a tough week.
There's a lot of good photos.
Tough.
I think I'm going to go with Jacob Massey from Kansas. I like the way that he set the deer up for the pictures. I like the way he put his bow. I don't see a lot of blood.
Dude, Bradley Little is going to hunt you down, Jacob. He's going to hunt you down. But I agree with you. Jacob, congratulations on winning the trophy contest. It's a great buck, great photo.
They're all great photos.
I'm still going to give you a little bit I'm still going to critique just a teeny weeny bit, because that's what we do here, because we're always looking for the best possible photos. All you needed to do is tell Brandon to turn his phone off. All you needed to do, Jacob, to make this photo just a tad better, you just needed to get that buck's head up like maybe 3 or 4 inches, and then its tines wouldn't have been hidden with the trees below. Or your photographer could have got down just like an inch or 2, then you would have had that whole buck's rack just skyline. Congratulations, Jacob. That's an awesome buck. And make sure you submit your photos right here for the next episode of Bowhunter Dice. You have a chance to win a great prize package. Ben is the one that's going to make sure that gets sent out. So email us if you won so we can get your package sent to your address. Until next time, guys, Bowhunter Die.
And the mosquitoes are out. And my thermocell is not coming on. Good way to start.